You watch any of the Hall of Fame induction stuff?
I did.
You like it?
I did. There were some really good speeches. I know last night we watched Peyton, John Lynch, and Charles.
Every defensive player has said something. When they talk about Joe Barry, they talk about energy is the first word that comes up. How much was that part of his approach when you worked with them in LA? And just how much was that something that appealed to you when you were kind of looking for a new coordinator? Just that energy and that type of thing?
Yeah, I think that's always an important part of it. You talk about the game of football. There's a lot of energy involved with that, and specifically on the defensive side of the ball and special teams, I feel like a lot is, at least in my past experience around the league and just going way back to even high school, a lot of the times the defense of the coaches have a ton of energy, and so certainly that's part of it. But ultimately, you want a good sound scheme, and you want somebody that's extremely detailed and a great communicator and a great leader, because you got to get everybody playing as one.
Matt, Jerry Gray yesterday talked about some of the different guys that he sees as candidates for that nickel star spot. How confident are you that you're going to have like multiple guys you'll be comfortable putting in that spot depending on matchups and stuff? Is that how you're looking at it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the things that the more versatile you can be, whether it's, no matter what the position, and being able to put multiple guys in there, it just opens up the possibilities for you schematically on both sides of the ball. So specifically with the nickel position, that is a position that, it's over 70% now typically in the National Football League that you're going to be in some version of nickel defense. So, that's a starting position. That's a big-time role for us.
Hey Matt, we're going to talk to Mason Crosby later today. I'm assuming he's on your leadership council as one of the veteran guys that you have. How has that evolved since you've been here? What kind of things do you rely on those guys for now as you're going into year 3? Is it different from when you first started?
We haven't really, for this year, set a leadership council, but you're always in tune to the guys that have been in the league and done it for a long time, and he's a guy that I'm constantly kind of bouncing ideas off of. He is a great leader for this football team. He's the player rep and has a good pulse of what's going on with our football team, what we need, and it's great to have a veteran like that, and we've got multiple guys like that, but Mason's somebody that you can always count on. Whatever he's feeding you is legitimate, and it's really beneficial.
Hey Matt, what do you think it said about him, though, too, on the field, at 36 to have a career year and just how consistent he was for you in 2020?
Yeah, that's huge, especially kicking up in this type of climate. Anytime when you got less than ideal conditions for more than half the season typically, and for a guy to be able to go in there and consistently do a great job, because you never really appreciate it until you don't have somebody there, and you with Mason, you never want to take anything for granted, but he has consistently delivered at least the past 2 years, and even beyond that, obviously. But yeah, he's just he's invaluable.
Matt, when you look back at the film, what did you think of how Jordan performed on family night, kind of first time for him really with fans and everything like that?
Yeah, there were some really good things, and then there are some things we got to clean up, and certainly we can't have the ball on the ground. We had a couple fumbled exchanges, and I know he hasn't necessarily gotten a ton of work with Capra, but he's going to have to potentially in the preseason, and we just got to clean up some of those things. He had the one play where he scrambled out too and had one hand on the ball where he's just moving up in the pocket, and it hit his thigh pad, and he fumbled that one. So, I think ultimately we just got to make sure he's doing a great job of taking care of that football, because that's what typically is the biggest indicator in wins and losses. And so, he's touching the ball every snap, so he's got to be great with it, and he knows that. But I thought he was able to make a couple nice throws, that were. He almost had a big one to Reggie that got through. I don't know how that ball got through, but it was a great pass to Reggie, and one that I think Reggie would like to have back. So there was a lot of good, and I think just more than anything else, the one thing that we'll make sure to keep pressing on to him is just the tempo in and out of the huddle, up to the line of scrimmage, making sure the communication's on point. There are a couple times where he may have gotten a bad play call in there in terms of how we set the formations, and he's got to be able to figure that out and get everybody lined up, and so we can go out there and execute.
Matt, what are you noticing as the competition heats up at guard? What are you looking for? What are your coaches talking about?
At the guard position? Yeah, just, it's going to be great to have these 3 preseason games to kind of roll everybody through, and then not to mention having some practices against the Jets next week, to let it kind of play itself out. We've been putting a lot of different combinations out there, and it's great to have a lot of people that could potentially fill that role, but typically that stuff will play out over the course of the next 4 weeks.
Matt, is this week like a normal second week of the preseason? Do you kind of jump to that? Are you done with all your installs, and you got 4 practices this week? What do you try to accomplish going into the first?
Yeah, I think it's more or less, again, we're trying to build up and, give these guys enough reps to get them ready ultimately for week 1. But yeah, it's just, I wouldn't say it's a normal, it's definitely not a normal game week by any stretch. It is that we're still in preseason mode. We're not going to play everybody in that first preseason game. There's going to be some select vets that aren't going to play, and so you want to make sure that you're getting good quality work in with those guys, and then it will be a great opportunity for those younger guys to go out there and play and get some much needed experience in this league.
Anything else in person? All right, Sarah, go ahead.
Okay, just wanted your Bill Huber.
Morning, Matt. Getting back to the guards. Now, we talked to Snell back during OTs, and he said that Ben Braden could start. And you're kind of thinking, at least I was thinking, really? I mean, the guys never played, really. So what's Ben showed you to put him in this position?
Well, he's a massive guy that has really good athleticism for his size, and he's got good ownership of what we're asking these guys to do, and he's done a nice job. So we feel really good about just the possibilities of many different people, for that position, and we'll, like I said, we'll let them battle it out.